Can we not put molasses in the engine next time you do an oil
Hey,
change?
hey.
Oh, so firstly, welcome or welcome back. We're working on
Welcome back.
welcome back, hopefully. Maybe it's just welcome. Maybe they're new to the channel.
We're not.
Well, welcome back to our channel. And if it's no, we don't have any new subscribers or new viewers. Welcome back. So there's some fuckery going on here. There is a funny noise in the XD, and we're about to find out what it is. I hope it's not in the engine, eh? Well, it's not the oil pump this time. Can't see any dents in the can. Oh, they're old dents. They're from the old oil pump. So no new dents after powercruise.
So we think it's the flex plate.
Oh, he's hoping it's a flex plate.
That's the way it
Yeah, swap you.
It's gonna hit me.
It will fall down and smash you right in the head.
So it's not a converter because they're cone locks. How's that is that inspection cover the whole back? They are, right? Yeah. Cool.
Well, why? Is that a manual one? It'd be a manual one because an auto one would have.
Sure.
Look, the holes don't even line up.
Oh yeah, no.
What other transmission did it have besides a C4?
Oh.
None. FMX. Same thing, I think. Anyway, that's a bit weird. So I think this is this might be manual because manuals would have the whole thing covered. Yeah, autos had that little thing cut out. Remember with the little press?
Yeah, because they had two pieces, eh?
Yeah, and you just took that part out. Yeah, through these bolts here, and you just took the little panel.
Oh well.
Hole saw?
Got dipped
Can you
again.
get the hole saw out? Let's give the hole saw a go. He'll get in there. It'll be a bit of an angle, but we'll get it. That doesn't sound loose or feel loose.
Yeah, look, you're not really helping here.
Maybe get the pry bar. Let's have a look.
Here comes that starter motor.
Let's come and get you. It's not a starter motor, is it? Did an oil change for powercruise, eh?
We're going to do one now, so maybe we do that and just check it.
Yeah, probably a good idea. There's that rusty tail shaft that saved the day.
That's a good buy, that one.
That doesn't look good.
That's what it's about, isn't it?
That's what it's about. The ups and downs.
Man,
So, as we all know, this is a pretty fresh motor. And what's going on, Bizzo?
when you say pretty fresh, we mean got built, got dyno, went to powercruise. That's what we mean by fresh.
We're on to our fourth oil filter. And we've still got some pretty heavy debris and as well as
Well, they all
material
look
there.
like that, except it's getting worse again now.
Yeah, some of that heavy stuff though is either gasket or cast metal, but the other stuff is what's worrying because it shouldn't be in there by now, is that shiny, if you can see it, but that shiny stuff in there. Especially the big chunks, the big boys. So where do we go from here?
The last motor there was in there since 2011, and it's now 2021, it blew up in 2020. And Trapnell built that one, and I didn't care about it, and it lasted
And it came, the oil always came out pretty
Ages.
clean out of that car.
a long time, so.
And it was the oil pump that failed, not the engine.
Yeah, the oil pump fell off the block, otherwise it would have still had bearings in that.
Which I saw on the internet the other day, in America actually, someone with a Mellings high volume oil pump and it cracked as well and fell off. So it still
When I
happens.
was at HPS, Justin showed me one that did the same thing as mine, on a Chevy that was in his shop.
But this time we don't have a failing oil pump, this time we have a failing engine. But this is real stuff, this is what happens. This is what goes on.
Shouldn't have.
It's not all just power
Shouldn't
cruise
happen
and
with a
fun.
stock Clevo, should it?
Well-
Oils. Good contact with the bearings, so they don't put the bearings in the oil. Maybe that's the oily mod we did.
Bearing material.
Yeah, you put your bearings in your oil. Again,
Soak the bearing material in the
two power
oil.
cruises, 2 years, 2 lots of bearings, and 2 lots of fucking oil.
Anyway, I guess we'll have to go back, get the motor out. So that'll come along. But we should talk about something else.
Yeah, that'll go in the shed till next power cruise, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to put this away because there's lots of other things to do.
What about Cortina motor?
Well, let's talk about the Cortina, I guess. It seems like a good time to introduce what
Let's
we're
go with
going to
it.
plan next. So what we have is a TE Cortina. 78, is it?
Yeah.
78. So it's a 78 Cortina. That's a Mark IV if you're from Europe.
So Europe.
If you're in Europe, it's a
European
Mark
countries.
IV.
Picked up a whole motor who lasted about 1,000 k's.
Sounds
In there.
familiar.
Anyway, picked up a whole motor, and he had some issues. He couldn't tell me what the issues were, but we're under the impression that it was something to do with his rockers and his geometry and the push rods. Because the only thing I didn't get with the motor were push rods, and he had a bent valve, and all these rockers are all
We found lots of damage on the rockers.
they're all fucked up, and they're the wrong ratio for what this cam recommends. So we're thinking. But his bearings are good.
Yeah, we didn't find any major, issues with bearings or clearances or anything. Like everything looked good. Even the
Use
crank
thrust
looked,
bearing.
even
That's what
the-
they should look like.
Most of the damage there is just from it being in the box with
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
bearings. But even the crank looked good. Everything looked good on it except for the rockers. So we made an educated guess that maybe he had the incorrect ratio. Or maybe they tried to do something dodgy to use those rockers and use different length push rods, which people do. Never ends well, but, don't mess with rocker geometry is the lesson there, I guess. But
He
what are these?
also gave us
The correct one.
the correct ones that he didn't use the first time. So we might make it work. We've got an air gap. Those of you who don't know what that is, it's royalty.
That's the manifold of choice, especially for Windsors 351 and 302.
And Edelbrock Performer RPM heads. So yeah, obviously. Well, they're all used except for the one new one that I'm guessing he bent. We've got everything. There's a Lunardi cam there, which you can't even
Balancer.
see any. Like it hasn't even worn off the bloody
Yeah, you can see it hasn't had much time on this bad boy.
head studs. Head studs, lifters, starter motor.
So we're probably
Got
not,
everything to build a motor.
we're not going to use the block and the crank that came with it because it's basically a stock AU. Whether it looks like an American block, but it's the same crank and block that we have here anyway. So there's no point reassembling this one when we already have a very fresh, or what looks like a very fresh AU 5 litre, right?
Balance them.
It's been balanced. It's been machined up and it's been balanced. It's definitely not factory. We don't know how many kilometres it's done, but it looks really fresh. So we're going to use that bottom end and then save these for another time, I guess. We'll see if we can get rid of them. It's got the same pistons in the other motor.
Yeah,
So-
it's got everything except these aren't balanced.
Yeah, so putting this engine together would probably be, not really worth it.
We just need to get a radiator and figure out this timing cover dilemma.
Water pump, very distinctive. And then
Very
very distinctive. Later on, they got the Cleveland water pump and they got all the Cleveland accessories. So they had the Cleveland balancer, Cleveland pulleys, everything on there the same.
So what's this?
And then this is the Australian debacle.
Oh,
so
right.
this is like a single serpentine belt, which I don't know. From looking at pictures, it's not that different to a Mustang 5 litres, I guess. It's up on YouTube, Drag Boss or the Reverend Cleveland, and no doubt they'll have some information there about it. But I'm pretty sure it's when they swapped factories. They went from Windsor to Cleveland. So they made Windsors in the Cleveland factory, and the Windsors all got the Cleveland accessories. But yeah, so we've got all these bits. Let's go check out the car. Yeah, we have featured the car on the channel when it had some fresh paint on it, and it was just a roller. Still is a roller, I guess. But here's the motor we're going to be using first of all. So this came out of a AU. Yep, you?
Yeah.
I think the only thing we'll upgrade is probably the timing chain off the other motor. Swap the front of the engine so that we can have the basic accessories for the Cortina, because there'll be no power steering in here and there won't be any of the other rubbish. It'll just be the alternator basically. Power steering rack. Imagine buying a power steering rack for a TE Cortina nowadays. Fuck me.
Yeah, they're around $1,000.
Yeah, something stupid like that. So yeah, this is a same engine, same crank, same block and everything as similar block to the American one that's in there. And we guess the other one came out of a Mustang. It wasn't a Mustang. I'm guessing it came from a Mustang of some description.
Yeah, it had no numbers on it.
Yeah, it's got no numbers and it's...
odd numbers, weird numbers on it.
Yeah, so it's not an Australian engine, and the crankshaft is the same as the Australian engine, which I researched, and turns out we did just get the same crankshafts, and it's not the greatest crankshaft, so, and this one isn't either, but for the application it doesn't really matter. So we're just going to use this one, really.
Well, we need to get some head gaskets.
Well, obviously that's a start. Head gaskets, we need a full gasket kit. We need to get this engine stripped down and really cleaned up so it looks pretty, because we don't want to destroy this. So you can see we've, you know, Barry's already got this sorted out. Everything's nice and clean in there.
We just want to drive the car. I want to drop the kids up to school, and that's the plan. So we're not talking about going power cruise and having a motor a year sort of issue. We just want to. Oh, you know, we've done a few things. We've done some tubs. Kept the. Yeah,
look, the tubs are half done. It's not the way we wanted. They are the factory tubs. The guy had cut them and joined them. He'd done one, and then we just came along and sort of, you know, did what we could to make it work. So it's not the, you know, it's not what we wanted, but it's not going to matter. It's under the car. It does its job. These tyres don't really take up the tub anyway.
We'll work on that. Might have sold them, and I might be getting some bigger feet for it. We got a tank. Cut the boot floor out for the tanking. Yeah, we modified the floor so that you can accept this tank that came from something. I don't know. That came out of another AU, didn't it? Came out of a different ute.
Different AU ute.
But it fit perfect in here, so that's what we're going to use. Just going to do our sender, work out our filler. We wanted to do something tricky with the filler behind, like an XD, but I'm just going to leave it. Could be bothered. Yeah, we'll just fill it from the boot. Just make it easy, even though, you know. Plenty of room to make exhaust. 20 exhaust out the back. We've got coilovers. That diff come in it was built, I think.
It's a VL?
Yeah, I think it's a VL diff.
VL Commodore.
It's still got Commodore brakes and Commodore stud, which makes it a bit of a bitch to buy wheels for, but multi-stuff.
Multi-fit, so that's all good. So in the process, you've got the hood lining put in. It looks pretty smick. We do have a back seat to retrim. We have to modify it here to go around these tubs. So we'll just get it back down to a frame, and then we'll just weld some flat bar around there and tie all the brackets in so that when the guy re-trims it, it'll fit back in. We do have the front windscreen. It's out in the yard, I think.
In the yard, chilling.
Yeah.
Got a 4-inch reverse cowl bonnet.
Yeah, well, it'll be good to see the bonnet on when it's finished.
Yeah, it's coming.
There's a bit of work in that bonnet though, so.
Yeah.
It was done. It looks like it was done properly, like it started off properly, so it should look pretty good when it's finished.
That's the only part I want painted so I can see it on the car. Like guards are cool, boots cool, doors would be cool. Bonnet.
Yeah, well, bonnet. Even though we don't need it because there's nothing special going on here, it'll still look cool. That's all this one's about really, it's just a bit of a cruiser. Make it look cool.
Hat the family up.